If you always overthink your multiple choice exams, if you never leave the room feeling confident, then this video is for you. Today, I'm going to talk about some strategies on how to make sure that you're confident leaving a multiple choice exam room. Our objective for today is going to learn how to be confident taking a test. Let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about is this thing that I learned from marketing class actually. Kind of a weird transference, but I think it's very, very relatable. It's called Gartner's hype cycle, and it starts down here, and you go up to a peak, and then you go down into a trough, and then you come back up a little bit higher than you were when you started. So I think Gartner's hype cycle is actually the learning cycle as well. It is a cycle that I see in my learning, and it is how I learn, and I think that it can be used to figure out how to learn better. So, what am I talking about? So, we start at the bottom, right? The far left. We're down at the bottom, we don't know a skill, and we're learning a skill, and we go up, 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 and it's super easy. This is when you're watching the YouTube videos, you're in lecture just learning. This is the easy part, and then you get up to this peak. And at this peak, you begin to actually get into the weeds of the concept, and then it becomes difficult. You start going, oh, there's things I don't know. I know what I don't know, and you're finding out more and more and more. And then you're going to go down into this trough. It's called the Trough of Disillusionment. And once you enter this trough, you could either do two things. You could quit or you could keep going. I always like to keep going, and I hope that you do too. If you're watching this video, you probably want to keep going because you're learning and furthering your education. So you get down to this trough, and you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, and then you come out of this trough, and you're like, oh, and you get smarter. And you end on this flat line that is higher than the line that you started on. That's the key here. You end on a flat line that is higher than when you started, which is incredible. You just learned something, you learned a new skill. How can we hack this so that you can skip the entire Trough of Disillusionment? Well, it's going to require some blind confidence, and if you can muster that up for a testing room, then you will succeed. So, same thing until the peak, and then once you get to the peak, you're going to start going back down, you're doing some hard things, and you just shoot directly over. You just cut it and shoot directly over to the straight line without going through the Trough of Disillusionment. How do you do this? You have to have blind confidence, borderline arrogance about the material you're learning. You have to put yourself into the mind of a professional in your field. I'm an accounting major, so I will say, I'm a professional accountant. I do this every day. I am so good at accounting. I inherently understand debits and credits, and there's no need for me to even study. I just know it's in my DNA. This is kind of how you have to think about yourself if you entirely want to skip the Trough of Disillusionment. It's very difficult to do. I've done it with some success, but I know that it does work because I have some friends that do it, and they get incredible results. So for the rest of us, what are we going to do more than likely? Well, this Trough of Disillusionment, it's doing something else other than just beating you. It's building confidence, because every single time you get a problem wrong, you know why. You're learning something and you're failing, and you're knowing why you got it wrong. So you get through this trough, and you've got a whole bunch of failure, and you can eventually, there's only so many ways that you can fail, especially within a fixed problem. So you fail, and then you eventually start to get better, and you realize you learn from your mistakes. You get better and better and better, and you climb out of this Trough of Disillusionment with a concrete stack of evidence that you are great. And that's how you go into an exam prepared and confident. So, what are some strategies to get through the Trough of Disillusionment a little bit easier? Use spaced repetition, which is if you know something, see it less times than if you don't know something. Pretty simple concept. I'm sure you already implement some sort of version of this into your studies. I'll give you an example. If you know what color the sky is blue, but you don't know what color grass is green. then you would see the question, what color is grass, more often than you would see the question, what color is the sky. Very simple concept. You definitely already use this. And then the second thing that you may or may not use that is also very important is active recall. What is active recall? Active recall is when you go, hey, accounts receivable is one side of the flashcard and the definition is the other side of the flashcard. So you're doing your flashcards and you look at it and you go, what is accounts receivable? It's revenue that's been recognized but not yet received. Oh, you flip it over, am I right or am I wrong? Yes, I'm right. It's revenue that's been recognized but not yet received. So that would be an example of active recall. You're forcing your brain to pull the answer to the question out of thin air. What is the goal with all these strategies for taking your exam? Well, the end goal is that you want to feel like you're riding a bike during the exam. You want to be just soaring, cruising down the sidewalk. You look down, you see a rose, and you go, oh. You pluck it and you smell it in one swift motion, and then you walk out of the testing room confident, and you're just loving life, high on life, and it's awesome. This is exactly how you should feel walking out of every single test you take, and through the understanding of the Gartner's hype cycle and using some simple strategies, you can do it. This has been Reframed with Presley Kane. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.